Good morning. Hey, it's me, Lindsay Page, here with Paw Prints University. Today, we're going to be talking about how to create your emergency disaster plan. We're going to talk about what it is, why you need it, and what you need to have in it. So first, what is your disaster plan? Well, a disaster plan is something that you create that includes your animals in case of an emergency. What constitutes an emergency? There's a few different kinds. Let's see. We could have a natural disaster such as a tornado, a hurricane, a flood, fires, things like that. Or it could be a health emergency. So it could be something like, someone needs to go to the hospital, or a car accident, or any other type of emergency where you either have to run out of town with or without your animals. So there's several things that we need to have in place once we bring this animal home. I know many of you have just recently adopted or rescued a new animal, and I want to make sure that they're included in your emergency disaster plan. So today I'm going to have a whole bunch of supplies here, things that are easy for you also to have and gather and keep with you in case you have an emergency. So the first thing that you need to have are vet records. Why do you need vet records? Well, because, when I say vet records, I need a tangible copy. Not on your computer, not on your phone, not hidden in some file in your office at work, but in your hand. And the best place to keep these vet records is taped to your crate. The crate is the vessel that you're going to transport your dog in case of an emergency. So it's great to have an extra set of up-to-date printed vet records attached to your crate. So speaking of crates, there's all different kinds of crates that we can have. What you want is a travel crate. It can either be hard or soft depending on what kind of animal you have. In my house I have a few different sizes of crates because I have a small dog and I also have a chinchilla. So I need to make sure that my small mammals are cared for too. So I have crates for both my animals with their vet records readily available. So you just get a folder, tape it to the side of your crate. So those are the first two things. The next thing you want to have on call at all times is a first aid kit. So this is a small, simple one that I have for animals. I also have larger ones that I carry with me when I do group training classes. And there's a few things that you need that you wouldn't normally have in a regular first aid kit. And one of those things is this really handy tape. This tape is so cool because it tapes to itself, so it doesn't stick to fur. So it's really good in case your animal's injured and you need to wrap them. Then you can use this tape to wrap the gauze without injuring your dogs. So that's the other thing you want to have is a first aid kit. One of my favorite things to talk about, as you can imagine, something that's really awesome to have on hand is a professional pet sitter. And in case you don't know a professional pet sitter, may I recommend going to petsit.com, putting in your zip code, and finding a professional pet sitter in your neighborhood. Call them, even if you're not traveling this week, this month, this year, even if you're not going back to the office this week, this month, this year. It's really important to have somebody else who is reliable and professional and knows your animals well, who can step in case of an emergency. So if you don't have your pet sitter's magnet stuck to your refrigerator in case of an emergency, give me a shout out and I will send one to the first 10 people who let me know that they need a magnet on their refrigerator. Okay, and if you are not in our local vicinity, like I said, go to petsit.com, put in your zip code, and find another professional pet sitter who can provide pet sitting services. Let me just give you a couple examples of why this is important. So I had a client who recently, a family member was in a really terrible car accident out of town, and they needed to go take care of the family. So what did they do? They immediately texted me. I think it might have been the middle of the night. It doesn't even matter. But they texted me. They reached out to me or emailed me and said, hey, I need to leave town tomorrow. Would you be able to take care of my cats? And I said, yes. I said, absolutely, we will be there. We have keys to their home. We know their animals. We know what their food is. We know who their vet is. We have all of those things prepared beforehand so we can jump in an emergency. That's one example of how it's really important to have a professional pet sitter on hand, okay? So that's my take on it. I can, of course, talk about it for a long time, but I just want to make sure you understand how important it is that having that plan in place is important. So I need to tell you guys another story. So this one involves pet insurance. If you just got a pet, if you just rescued a puppy or a dog from a shelter or from a rescue group, or you even purchased a puppy, you have this new animal in your home and you don't know anything about their history, you don't know what happened, you don't know what's going on, you don't know if they're going to go eat something that they shouldn't. Do me a favor. As soon as you get off of this Facebook Live, go get some pet insurance. It is crucial. And my parents joked about it like 40 years ago when we had a dog who had, my first dog, Pumpkin, she was epileptic. And my parents sold insurance back then, and they used to joke about how they wish they had pet insurance because the vet bills were extraordinary. And today, pet insurance is just the norm. So please, everybody, go get some pet insurance. It's really important. And I can tell you some more recent stories with my dog, Jilly. She likes to get into things, and so when we first rescued her, we went ahead and got pet insurance, and a few months later, she was bit by a copperhead snake in my yard. And I'm only saying it with a smile because, as most of you know, she's totally fine and healthy today, but in the moment it was very scary. So what happened is that we had a plan. I had the vet number in my phone. I knew who to call. I knew how to stay calm in the situation. I knew how to take care of her to keep her calm and safe. And I was able to get her to the vet as quickly as possible. I called ahead, told them what happened, told them we were on our way. They were prepared for us when we arrived. So these are some reasons why you should get pet insurance. I also just recently had to take her to the vet last week. She has not been limping on one of her legs for a little bit and not putting weight on it, and I was nervous, and so I took her to the vet and I had her checked out. She was diagnosed with hip dysplasia. She just turned 3, as you all know, on Saturday, and she's so young, but she is so physically active. And so the vet bill, you guys, like over 60% of it, 80% of it is covered by my pet insurance. Without that pet insurance, not having a full-time job right now, that's scary, right? So I took her anyway. I figured I'll just pay for it. I'll figure out how to pay for it. And not only that, my pet insurance is covering most of the costs. So those are 2 reasons why I'm telling you guys, go get some pet insurance when you get off this call if you haven't already. So the next thing I want to tell you guys is, what else do we need to have in case of an emergency? And everybody knows this because back in March, when the whole world was shutting down, the whole world ran to Costco to go get supplies. So we need supplies for our animals too. Don't forget that we need supplies for them. So we need some extra food and some extra water. So I have information that tells you exactly how much you need for each of your animals. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can go onto our YouTube page for more information on it. But just make sure that you have that extra food and water available. And food doesn't last forever. So just like people food, even if it's shelf food, check the expiration dates and make sure it's all up to date every 6 months or so to make sure that it's all safe for them to eat and drink. You can also get them travel bowls and bedding. So this is a treat pouch, but something that looks like this. You can put food in and water. They make really simple ones that you can purchase. So this is a fun bowl that I just wanted to show you guys. This is more for enrichment, but I just thought it was fun to show. So any kind of extra bowls you have and water to make sure that they are taken care of as well. The last thing, let's see, that I wanted to share with you guys is to have an extra leash and tags and collar. And this is really important. So if your dog gets loose or if they lose their collar one day, playing outside or on a walk, or you leave it at the groomer, for example, that does happen sometimes. So if you leave it at the groomer, you can always get your second set of tags and have them ready for you. So it's really important to get a second set. So when you go to the store to order your tags, ask them for 2 sets. One is going to go around your dog's neck immediately, and one is going to go in your file, taped to the crate with your vet records, so you have an extra set just in case. And since you guys all made it to the end of this, I just wanted to say that I have some freebies for you. So just like this magnet, I have some other freebies that really are because I care so much about making sure everybody is prepared in case of an emergency. So I have this, which says Rescue Our Animals. And this is a static sticker that sticks on your window of your house or your storm door. And you can write your names, the number of animals that you have in your home. So in case someone needs to get in and save your animals, they know how many are in there. So I have that for you guys. And I also have this, which is a wallet card, if you can see. So this is something that you carry in your wallet. In case you're in a car accident and the paramedics come, they're going to see that you have animals at home. And it's going to have a phone number to call whomever needs to be called to take care of your animals. So the first 10 people, just like the magnet, the first 10 people to let me know that they care about their animals and they want to have these two things, I will send them to you with a personal note from me and Jilly. So please let me know. And I have something really exciting to share with you. Next week, we are gearing up for the holiday season. And so next week, we have a special guest coming who's going to share some tips on creating a fear-free environment for everyone. Fear-free is about reducing fear, anxiety, and stress in everything we do. We want to keep us and our animals safe and out of harm's way, especially with the upcoming spooky holidays. So please tune in next Tuesday for a special guest. I love you guys so much. Thank you all for stopping in to share the joy of creating an emergency disaster plan. I also have a brochure that I will stick in the envelope with the other information. So with that, I love you guys. Have a great day. Get out and enjoy this gorgeous fall day, and I will see you all next week. Thanks so much. Bye.